So we've discussed cash flow. Now we'll start new chapter called working capital. Very, very, very important chapter from a practical point of view. As I've told you, the first line of attack is this. If this is not okay, then everything is the problem. So how do you do working capital? Working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. So when you did the ratios, you've already seen that working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. But there are a few things that you need to understand, because how to calculate is very important. And along with that, there are certain concepts. What are the concepts we look at? Working capital can be classified in the following ways. Gross working based on concept, gross, only current assets. Net, current asset might be current asset. That is this one only. Based on time factor, permanent working capital is the minimum level of investment required in working capital of the business at any point of time. It's also called fixed or hardcore working. So the minimum working capital you need to maintain. So that below that you cannot go. Temporary working capital represents working capital over and over for the permanent working capital, not fluctuating or variable. So if you look at a chart sort of thing, this is the permanent working capital. This is your working capital that can come and go, but it cannot go beyond below this. So this part is the fluctuating working capital. This is the fixed working capital. Okay. Now we have to look at working capital cycle. This is also we have seen a little bit, but again, how does a working capital cycle work? So if you look at a trading situation, it's very simple. Trading situation, it is very simple. How does it work? You bring money, you buy finished goods, you sell to debtors, and you sell to again back to cash. It's a simple cycle. So that's why I told for retailers, for retail people who are selling, the cycle becomes even smaller. It comes straight here. So it's easier. And why the cycle is important, as I told you, in business, if you have 100 rupees, you buy and do the cycle, you will get 120. Again, you take that 100. Again, you make 120. Again, you take that 100. Again, you make 120. The more times you are able to convert it, the more times you do, your profit will be, so the profit you are doing 20, 20, 20. So in a year, suppose you are able to rotate 6 times. Therefore, 6 times into this is 120 you have already made as your profit on a this thing of 100, investment of 100. See the power of business. That's what is the power of business. So therefore, it is very, very essential that this cycle moves fast. If it gets bigger, that means suppose it takes more time, then again more time. Then what happens? You are able to rotate it only a few times. So the 120 say 2 times only. Therefore 220, 120 2 times 20, 20. So you are able to make a profit of 40 only on 100. That is not, obviously businessman's interest. He wants to rotate it as fast as possible. Therefore, he will try to reduce the cycle such that it gets rotated faster. That is a very, very clear understanding of why working capital cycle has to be done. So what happens, suppose with cash, he buys some goods. There are two here in trading, I'm saying, which is not, he's not bought it according to the requirement of the market. According to the requirement of the market. For example, suppose a textile shop. Venus, if you go to the textile shop, right? You go to which shop? If you have to go to textile shop, Venus?
Alucas.
Alucas. So Alucas is there everywhere. Then Alucas, if they keep some item which are to always old item. Old means old design. Venus needs everything modern. And they keep something old design, which is probably the 70s or 80s design. Will you go and buy it?
No.
No. Obviously, you'll not be interested, right? So what happens to the stock? This stock will sit there and it will not move. It will not move. The stock will sit there. Suppose some stock they have got, but most of them is this. So this will sit there. So it will not get converted into debtors or whatever cash. So to that extent, it becomes a problem and the cycle doesn't move. It cannot get rotated. Whereas if they are able to judge that what is the requirement of the present trend, then what will happen? That goods will come and move, come and move, because people will buy it, right? So that is what we need to understand, that this purchase of finished goods is also very important. If they don't buy it according to market requirement, stock will just get stuck. It will be slow moving stock. Slow moving is there, it is dangerous because your working capital is getting stuck. Working capital gets stuck, naturally he is not able to make profit. Obviously, other interest concerns are there if he has borrowed the money from outside. Same now, let us look at manufacturing. So, trading in smaller items are involved. Here, nothing but few more things. From cash, he buys raw material. From raw material, there is WRP. There, finished goods. Then debtors, and then cash again. So it's all the same except that few elements like raw material and WF are added to it. So the concepts and everything is the same. There's nothing much to it. Again, the idea is the faster you do, the more. So here again, one more thing I just wanted to mention is that like stock is getting stuck, debtors can also get stuck because people are not paying. If you don't have a proper system of following up the debtors, people will not pay. Will not pay. They'll keep on delaying. So as a result, there will be delay. Then cycle will become bigger. Here, same situation. Raw material delay means your procurement delay. Procurement delay. Purchases delay. Here means from raw material to WIP to this. This is the production cycle. Production cycle. Even in production cycle, if it doesn't happen properly, then it's a problem. This again is the sales cycle. This again is the credit period cycle. Even after debtors, so all these are we are going to look at it. Only this part, production cycle, we have already seen under here also, this part also, under inventory management. That B4, LIFO, EOQ, all these things are we have already seen under inventory management. We have seen under costing this part of it, even to an extent this part of it. What we are main concerned is this one, the credit receivables management, the debtors management, and this management. So just be careful. We'll look at it very carefully. First is what are the operating cycles that are involved in working capital. As we saw, conversion of cash, look at this, we have seen conversion of cash to raw material, that is this one. Conversion of raw material to WIP and then into finished goods, that is this one. So this is lead time, this is production cycle, we've already seen that. Then finished goods to debtors through sales, stock holding period, how much you are holding stock. And then the fourth one is your receivables, average collection, receivables into cash, average collection. So these are the time cycles that are involved in the working capital cycle. So if you are able to calculate in time, then we can convert into value. Then we'll exactly know what is your working capital value. So what is your operating cycle here? Raw material storage period, WIP storage period, finished goods storage period, debt collection period. So this is the lead time, this is the process time, and this is the finished goods storage period, debt collection. All these have been written in a different name. Now, how can you forecast? So if you want to have an idea of how much, these are the different ways of doing forecasting. Holding period by reference to operating cycle, best judgment by estimation of each component of current assets and current liabilities, ratio of sales, ratio of fixed assets, etc. Way you can project your working capital cycle. Now, there are two conceptual approaches to working capital cycle. One is total approach. All expenses and profit margins are considered. Cash cost approach. Only cash expense excluding depreciation are considered. So how do you do it? Rates the valuation of various items under two approach. Raw material. What is the value you are going to put? Purchase price net of discount. Here also purchase price, no difference cash. Here working progress raw material plus 50% of direct labor, direct expense and all production overheads. Here also same, except you are reducing the depreciation part if there is any. From the production overhead, reduce depreciation. Finished goods again cost of production, but here also cost of production minus depreciation, because this is what is said. Cash cost is excluding profit, cash expense only, and depreciation. Sundry debtors, selling expense normal. Here selling expense minus profit minus depreciation, because only cash expense, cash cost. No, here total approach, all expense and margin are considered. Here they are not considered. Sundry creditors, same as this one, same as. Okay. Now we look at a problem as to how we can calculate this. There are under these two methods or whatever we look at. These are other things that we will come to that later. Now, from the following details, determine the working capital requirement of the company. Operating cycle component, raw material stock 30 days, WIP 20 days, finished goods 10 days, debtors 30 days, creditors 20 days. Average annual at 72 lakhs, cost structure as a percentage of sales, 50%, labor 30%, overhead 10%, profit 10% of overhead, 30% consumes, depreciation expense, design cash. So we have till now did the overall working capital calculation. Now we will be looking at each individual element to reduce the working capital cycle. The earlier problems that we did, we tried to calculate the working capital cycle, what is the value. But now we are going to look at individual items in that, how we can reduce it. For example, cash we are going to look at. Inventory, rating to inventory, we have already seen under materials, raw materials like IOQ model and all that. Okay. So now we are looking at cash, then we look at debtors, which is very important. Cash related, there are some models based on which we can reduce the cash holding, because cash is more in hand, again it's getting stuck. Some of the models are we are going to look at. So here the first thing that we need to look at is Bauman's model to get the optimum cash balance. So EOQ, Bauman's EOQ model is similar to Wilson's model of raw material EOQ. We have done EOQ similar to that. Only the scenario is a little changing. It is based on the assumption that cash payments rise uniformly during the year. Surplus cash can be invested in short-term marketable securities. However, every purchase of security and for every sale, fixed transaction costs are incurred. For example, brokerage, registration costs. And these costs rise along with the number of transactions. Further, such surplus cash, if any held in the firm, will be result in a loss of interest at a fixed rate. Because if you hold it in cash, it's of no use. Therefore, you try to put in the fixed deposit. But the problem in fixed deposit is that you will be getting some interest, but to convert and bring it back when needed, there is a cost involved. So that is like your, setting up cost or your ordering cost. Now, if you have too much money, if you don't put it, they said, okay, put it in the deposit, then there will be a problem in having the money not in hand. This constitutes the carrying cost of the cash, that is interest foregone on marketable securities. Moreover, it's also assumed that short-term investments can be freely traded. As per this model, the optimum size of that level of investment where total transaction cost per annum and the carrying cost per annum are minimum. Also at this level, two costs are equal, and equal of these constitutes half of the two costs. This is all exactly like Wilson's model. So every time you have lot of cash, then what happens? You have to put in deposit. But the problem is each time you put, there is a cost. So that is like your, uh, the cost for the ordering cost. It is just like ordering cost. So each time you do that cost, you're going to. The other one is if you are holding in cash, that is the carrying cost. That also is there. Both are there, similar to that. So you have to find such a way that these two costs are minimum. That is the optimum size model. It's exactly like the Wilson's model. Only the certain calculations or different situations are different. So what are those? We'll see. So here the formula is optimum cash balance is their optimum stock, optimum order size basically. Here it is optimum balance at optimum investment size that you are going to put under the deposit. What is the optimum size? Root of 280 divided by where A is equal to annual cash requirement. There it was annual stock requirement. T is equal to transaction cost per purchase or sale. There it was, what is it? It was primarily the ordering cost. And this is the carrying cost, which we are saying there in carrying cost. This is the interest rate per annum. Obviously, average cash balance is equal to half of optimum size, half of EOQ. There it was average inventory. Here it is cash balance. There it was inventory. And it was half of EOQ, it's half of investment size. Because investment size is your EOQ, optimum investment that you can make. What are the total cost of optimum size? Transaction cost plus interest cost. The interest cost is your basically your carrying cost in the inventory context. Transaction cost is your ordering cost. So both these part together, how do you calculate number of transactions and cost per transaction? They are also similar. Number of times you are ordering into ordering cost per transaction. The average cash balance into half of interest rate. There also it was carrying cost is equal to half average inventory into rate, whatever is the rate at time. Optimum investment size is equal to at optimum investment size. Transaction cost per annum is equal to interest cost per annum is equal to half of estate cost. Here, there also same thing was happening. Total transaction cost is equal to your carrying cost. That is, the transaction cost is the ordering cost. Ordering cost and carrying cost are equal at optimum investment size, which is the EOQ in your Wilson's model, and that is equal to half of both these costs put together. Okay. Now, apart from that, you got Millar model and concentration. I will just look at Millar model and then we will do the problem. Millar model is also called stochastic model. Stochastic model. Cash model. Under this model, cash payments are presumed at different amounts on different days of cash flow, and that is cash flows are not uniform. This model is designed to determine the time of transfer between the investment account to the cash account. The diagrammatic view is given below. So let us look at certain points. This is 0 point, this is lower limit, this is upper limit, this is return point. So how it happens is that you are having cash balance it is going like this cash. The moment it hits the upper limit, you cannot go beyond that. Therefore, to reduce the cash balance is converted into securities by purchase of securities. Therefore, your cash balance will come and hit. How much purchase you have to do? To the extent of this cash. It will come to this level. And assuming the next time it is coming down, it need not go up, it can go up also, but we are assuming to make you understand, it is again coming down. It can reach maximum up to this point. It cannot go below your cash balance. Because the moment you hit, you will sell the security that you held and you will get the cash back. How much cash back? This much. So that you return to the next point. After this, it can go up or go down, whichever way. According to that, you have to buy and sell. So, what is it that you need to find as a mirror model? It is the spread. What is the spread? Spread is the difference between upper limit and lower limit. See, spread is equal to upper limit minus lower limit. Upper limit minus lower limit. That is from here to here. How do you find out? 3 into cube root of 3 by 4 into t into sigma square divided by I, where sigma square is equal to variance of daily cash flows and t is equal to transaction cost per order of converting marketable securities and vice versa. The transaction cost, that is market. I, this I is the interest rate, that is carrying cost per rupee in cash. That is one formula that we need to find out. That is a spread. Next one is R. R is the return point. It is the lower limit plus 1/3 of spread. Actually, I by mistake cut it. Lower limit plus 1/3 of spread. U, upper limit, is equal to lower limit plus spread, or that's very simple. See, if you look at it, what is your upper limit? Upper limit is lower limit plus spread. So this upper limit is what? It is this lower limit plus the spread, right? Or another way of finding out is the return point plus 2/3 spread. R plus 2/3 spread. D, average cash balance is equal to lower limit plus 4/93 spread. So all these cases, if you know the spread, then you can find out U. You can find out R. So first you have to find out. Okay. So that is how we will start now doing the problem.